Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We went live for our Chat Sports Live mock draft yesterday. So, in the midst of all that, we heard from a bunch of Bears assistant coaches. So, I thought I'd come back this morning and do kind of a reaction. My 5 biggest takeaways from what we heard from Declan Doyle, Dennis Allen, Richard Hightower, and a couple other guys as well. So we will do that here on today's show. And by the way, the NFL draft is 6 days away. If you want just more overarching NFL draft content, obviously Bear-specific draft content, this is the channel for you. But our other YouTube channel, 4Verts, I'm covering the NFL every single day over there. You see the link below, just flash on screen, youtube.com/@4Verts if you want to check out my most recent mock drafts. I'm going to do a reaction video to the Chat Sports Live mock draft, other content around the NFL on a daily basis. Would appreciate your support. I know a lot of you have subbed over there already. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers. That would be awesome if we could get there as soon as possible. Okay, let's talk about what the coaches said yesterday. Dan Roushar, the Bears offensive line coach, who was with the Saints for a long time, had some thoughts on Will Campbell. He was asked about him, and he was really asked more about like arm length, and he kind of brought up the name Will Campbell on his own. He said, here's what I think. I watched a lot. I'm sure we're referencing a guy like Will Campbell. So the measurables are the measurable. But when the film goes on, you don't see short arms. You see a very accomplished left tackle that has exceptional balance, is exceptional hand placement. He knows how to use the tools that he's been given, and he's done it at a high level from early in his career to today. So as a coach, you're watching that, and all you can do is evaluate the play. He gets high marks from us. If you remember what Ben Johnson said at the owners' meetings, I think in his interview with Adam Hogue of CHGO, he said the way he likes to approach these things, he likes to watch the film, kind of what Roushar is mentioning, and see if he notices anything. Because you might see something on film like, oh, he keeps getting driven back. He has a poor anchor. Oh, this guy who has quick speed off the edge, maybe his arms are a little shorter. He's not able to get his hands on them. But his approach is basically watch the film, and if something stands out, okay, then we'll check the measurement. So I think the Bears are kind of giving you breadcrumbs that they feel pretty good about this guy. If you look at the scouting report that our own Tom Downey has on Will Campbell, I agree with the first note tremendously. Quality athlete, I would say really good athlete, good footwork, high football IQ. We've talked about the little nugget Nate Tice dropped on a different podcast that he was setting protections as a left tackle at LSU. That's a pretty unique thing to do for any college offensive lineman, but especially someone who's not the center. Good physicality. He can anchor at that position as well. And obviously, what I just alluded to is if he's going to face issues in the NFL, it'll probably be against top-end speed rushers. Like, think of like a Von Miller in his prime or someone like that. But guess what? Those players give most tackles problems. So, like, if you're looking for like the nitpicking stuff, like, yeah, you're probably going to find that in a Will Campbell. You're probably going to find that with most of the offensive tackles in this class. There's not a Trent Williams in this draft, but I do think Will Campbell across the league is mostly being viewed as a tackle right now if you just listen to what teams and coaches are saying. And I think the Bears view him as a left tackle, which would be a change of speed a little bit because Ryan Poles has valued that length. Doesn't mean they don't value it, but maybe he's the exception to the rule. Or maybe they at least view him like, hey, his tape tells us he can be a tackle. We view him as that. But we know even if it doesn't work there, he can be a tremendous guard in the future. So I do think he's a player they would consider at 10 if he were to get there. I don't really think he does get to 10, but I think the Bears really like him. I mean, Dan Roushar said they had a high mark on him. It's smokescreen season. Maybe they're BSing, but I don't think they are. Okay, Kyler Gordon, who just got his contract extension, Dennis Allen, raved about him as a player. He said when he first came in, watched the tape, he knew that was a player they wanted to keep around and would fit in his defense. And he said some interesting stuff, too, about him adding to his repertoire. He said, does he go outside and compete at outside corner? Does he compete some at safety? I've told him that he needs to be learning both of those spots, and we'll figure out where that second position, where he can go in and compete, and hopefully we'll find some more playing time for him. He's played more outside corner, so obviously he'd be that would be the comfort level. But some of the things that I've seen him do and the way he fits in the run game tells me he could play or be a fit at safety also. Remember, if you go back to his rookie year, he kind of expressed some disappointment that they were just playing him at nickel primarily and not at outside corner because he felt like he could be on an island at outside corner. Now, I think Matt Eberflus made the right bet on him. Like, hey, your athleticism, your ability to help and run support, we can really maximize you as a nickel corner. But I also like what Dennis Allen is saying here because guess what? Even in today's NFL where teams' base defense is nickel, that's still not going to be 100% of snaps. So if you feel like this is one of your top flight defensive players, you just paid him $13 million per year, I would like to see him on the field close to 100% of the snaps. If that means 10 snaps a game at safety, awesome. If that means, flipping out to outside corner when you're in base defense and Tyrique Stevenson or whoever the number 2 outside guy comes off the field for a few snaps, if you think Kyler's better and needs to be on the field more, that's great as well. I think you've paid this guy to be a top flight player. I think he's got the athleticism and just overall ability and instincts to play close to, if not 100% of the snaps. I like the thinking here, and I think it's just kind of resembling what this coaching staff in general is going to bring to the table. Is like, hey, we're going to challenge these guys. We're going to see if they can dig deeper within themselves and do more. If they can't, they can't. But if they can, that's going to create more value for themselves and obviously more value for this team. So I'm excited to see what Dennis Allen does with Kyler Gordon. Obviously, his primary role will be at nickel, but if he could add a second position, that would be awesome. What do you guys think his second position should be? Type S for safety, CB for cornerback. I would love it to be safety where he kind of becomes that de facto third guy because you don't really have a ton of depth there right now. I mean, Elijah Hicks is fine, but he's on the final year of his rookie deal. We've talked ad nauseum about Brisker's concussion concerns. Byard is a free agent after this year. So if he could be a guy that, plays some safety or, some box safety role as well where he's almost like a sub-package linebacker, I think he can do those things for a few snaps per game. So, again, we'll see what Dennis Allen tries to do with them. Okay, we are sponsored by Rocket Money today. And listen, did you pick up a coffee on the way to work today? I bet it was like $6 or $7. How many streaming services do you pay for? How much do you pay per month? You probably don't even realize how much it is. Well, you're going to once you get going with the Rocket Money app. Completely safe. You sync up your bank account, and you're going to see just how quickly how much money you're spending on things you either don't use anymore or you don't need to be spending money on anymore. We all need to scale back on our spending and build those savings. I've been using the Rocket Money app for a couple years now, and I've saved several $100s, probably well over $1,000 at this point, by just scaling back on certain things, canceling subscriptions my wife and I haven't been using because a lot of these streaming services, you can kind of come and go, right? You cancel it. If you want to hop back on 3 months later, that's great, but you're typically not bound to a 12-month contract, so don't pay for it constantly if you're not using it constantly, and you can get those services canceled with just a few taps of a button within the Rocket Money app. You can negotiate to lower bills by up to 20% by uploading certain bills. Rocket Money will find the best deals out there for you for certain providers. So take advantage of Rocket Money. They have 5 million users and counting and have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving the members up to $740 per year when they use all of the app's premium features, like canceling those unwanted subscriptions, monitoring your spending, and helping lower your bills to grow your savings. So do those things. Go to rocketmoney.com/bears now. It's rocketmoney.com/bears now. I'm a big fan of Rocket Money. Use it constantly, and you guys should too. Okay, Ben Johnson. He has set a high bar, which I'm glad to see because this was the number one thing that I thought was critical in that first team meeting where he spoke to the entire team and entire coaching staff for the first time. Set a standard and hold to it, and it sounds like so far that has happened. Declan Doyle, the new offensive coordinator, young guy, obviously said really from an organizational perspective, Ben has set a very high standard every day. He has an edge to him. He has a chip on his shoulder. He really holds everybody in the building to a very high standard at all times. Richard Hightower, more of a veteran coach, so you could probably take what he has with even more value, especially in this situation because he was under the prior head coach as well, Matt Eberflus. He said, just his command in the room, his attention to detail, his passion for the game, his knowledge of all three phases of the game, and how he wants to put it together. You can see why he was successful in Detroit. We're all excited to be on his staff. You can ask any coach. He later said he gets it. Listen, this was critical. Johnson had to come in here and set the standard high because things got loose last year, let's be honest. In week 3, when Mercedes Lewis, a 20-year vet, and a couple other offensive players is having to set a meeting with Shane Waldron on how he needs to coach them harder, that's a problem. That just can't happen. That cannot happen in the NFL. So far, so good. Obviously, it's phase one of the offseason. We can only go off what we have so far, but sounds like that standard has been set, and to this point, that's what it's been. There's no slippage happening. Okay, Al Harris talked as well, and he's excited to work with Tyrique Stevenson. This is a pairing I've kind of been talking about for a couple of months now. Cassie Carlson kind of just paraphrasing it here on Twitter, saying he's excited to work with Tyrique. He said Stevenson was his most memorable top 30 visit in Dallas because he was so authentic. This going back a couple years ago when the Cowboys brought him in for a top 30 visit before that draft when the Bears ultimately got him in the second round. Brad Biggs kind of doubled down today on the score, saying that Al Harris loves Tyrique Stevenson's talent and that they really connected in that top 30 visit back in 2023. And look, I've held firm here, and I'm going to continue to. I'm not selling my Tyrique stock. I've seen him play at a high level. I love the skill set. He's over 6 feet. He's got really long arms. They're going to more of a press man scheme. I think that fits his skill set really well because he can jam at the line of scrimmage and be physical with his hands, which we know he wants to be. I go back to the second half of his rookie year and early on last year. It's like you see the playmaking. You see a guy who is willing to tackle and run support. So I'm not selling. I think Al Harris is one of the best young defensive back coaches in the NFL. Long career with the Green Bay Packers. He knows what good cornerbacks look like. And Tyrique Stevenson, just from a physical stature standpoint, like he's built like a really good outside corner. Good size, good weight, good length, good speed. Good mindset. I like the edge he plays with. He just got to mature a little bit. You got to rein it in some. So if he can do that, I still think he can be a force in this league. Obviously a critical offseason for him. And I think if I'm Tyrique, I am on Al Harris's hip at all times trying to soak up everything he's saying and mature because everything's there for him. Everything is there for him to be a great player in this league, but he's got to do his part. Will Tyrique Stevenson bounce back? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I'm betting on it. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to have a big year 3. And if he does, there's not a lot of holes in this defense. That would be huge for this team. Okay, lastly, Antoine Randall spoke highly of Rome Odunze. He said the biggest thing with Rome is he has the height, and as tall as he is and with the length he has, he can drop his weight too and get in and out of a route. The previous year, everyone had Marvin Harrison first, then Malik Neighbors, but I had Rome first. Now, is he saying that to instill extra confidence in Rome? Maybe. I do remember last year there was a debate between the three. Now, the consensus was Marvin 1, Neighbors 2. Rome 3, but I do remember there being a few leaks that some teams did like Rome the best, and I think the Bears might have actually been one of those. And then there was definitely some debating between Malik and Marvin. But regardless, it was considered a big 3, then really should have been a big 4 with Brian Thomas Jr. arguably having the best season of them all. But I think there's like this idea out there that Rome Odunze like was some miss or like isn't that good of a player. Like, if you watch the Bears last year and you look at these numbers and you know the dysfunction with the team, especially with the offense, the guy still had 50-plus catches, over 700 yards, and the internet tells me he stinks. Like, what are we talking about? And by the way, he was clearly the third guy in the pecking order behind DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. So not only did he put up solid numbers for any rookie receiver, or really any receiver in the NFL, sure not number 1 numbers, he wasn't asked to be the number 1. He wasn't even asked to be the number 2. He was the number 3 in a bad offense and still had 54 for 735. And the internet tells me he stinks. Like, yeah, Brian Thomas had a better year. Right now, you would obviously rank him higher than Rome Odunze. But guess what? He went after Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, who had a better year then. So I think Rome is a hell of a talent. I still think he's going to be very good. We'll see if he's going to end up being that true number 1 year in, year out, 1,200-yard guy. Obviously, another step is needed, but not a ton of guys come in and have the years that Neighbors and Brian Thomas did last year. Like, to me, Rome Odunze did not fall short of expectations last year. The team fell short of expectations, clearly, which is why everybody got fired and they brought in a new coaching staff. So I'm still excited about Rome. I have not wavered at all in what he's going to be as a player in this league. Keenan's obviously not here anymore, so he's going to get more target share. And I think there's a world where he does end up being the number one this year, which would be very, very exciting. All right, that's it for Chicago Bears now, at least for now. We will have another video later today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. More Bears draft content later. There's a report out there that the Bears could trade up. Also, check out 4Verts, my other channel. A lot of NFL draft content on a daily basis going on over there right now, youtube.com/@4Verts. I will pin that link to the comment section of this video, so click and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. Bear down.